Hello, hello, and welcome to Beyond the Hairline with me, your host, Jennifer McCowan. And today you get just me. Last week we had David Santiago from New York City talking about scalp micropigmentation. And that is basically the tattooing of the scalp to either create a um, really nice hairline, and or if you have thinning hair and fine hair, it's sort of a permanent way to get those keratin fibers onto your scalp and hide things. So, and I'm really excited. The class before that, we had Sarah Longpre from Saskatoon Pole and Dance talking to us about how pole can actually help you deal with stress, right? And stress causes hair loss. So everything we talk about on Beyond the Hairline here, I have figured out a way for it to lead back to hair loss. So we're going to bring a money expert on in a couple of weeks named Tanya Woods Richardson, and she's going to talk about her financial forecasts. She helped me get out of the hump, and then I've got a couple extra special guests that I'm lining up along the way. So for today, though, we're going to talk about the really hot topic, Ozempic and hair loss. And for this, I've crafted a PowerPoint. So I'm a visual learner and I didn't get the chance. Normally I would have pictures and stuff, you guys, but I did not get the chance to do pictures today. So instead, I am going to give it to you like this. Okay? So Ozempic and hair loss. I hope everybody can see my screen. Now, can we directly blame this drug for hair loss? And quite frankly, right out of the gate, the answer is no, we can't. What we know about semaglutide or Ozempic, whichever you want to call it, it's recommended to those who are suffering with type 2 diabetes. That means those who were not born with diabetes, they have developed a problem with being able to regulate their blood sugars due to all kinds of different reasons. And so this is to help regulate the insulin in their bodies, regulate how their body reacts to blood sugar spiking. So just like I was saying, it's meant to assist with the regulation of sugars. It mimics a natural hormone in order to help regulate insulin in the body. And so that hormone is that one that kind of just gets the metabolism moving. Now, when you are on Ozempic, it tends to slow digestion down. And so that results in a reduced appetite and a caloric, my tongue is so tied today. Okay, resulting in a reduced appetite and a caloric intake. So right away, as soon as we have less calories, the body kind of gets shocked, like, oh, what's happening here? And so a few things can get triggered. And then when we really drop our calorie intake, what we're going to learn on the next page too is that what you probably don't know is your hair is the second fastest dividing cell in your entire body. And so it has an extremely high appetite. And as soon as we wipe out calories, and it like with both intake and then all of a sudden we're just changing our diet like crazy, it can really affect the hair. So it's not the Ozempic directly, it is a secondary effect of Ozempic. And while it is very wonderful for promoting weight loss, which can have great results on metabolic health, we don't want to see anybody have diabetes. We want to make sure everybody can go to the gym and stay active and lead a healthy lifestyle. So there's some really, really good things that Ozempic does. And so in order to prevent hair loss, this is what I'm here to help you with. So Ozempic often can give you a sudden or large amount of weight loss in a very short period of time. And as soon as we shock the body with that and we lose a ton of weight in a very, very short amount of time, it will interrupt the hair growth cycle. And it creates what's called telogen effluvium, usually otherwise known as stress-induced hair loss. But the body doesn't know one good stress from another or bad stress from good stress. It just knows there's a change in the body. And so what happens when that change happens is instantly we'll go into a little bit of a shedding phase. Now, naturally, at any given time, 8% of your head is always already shedding. That's just the mammal in you. So when we go and introduce and drop a lot of weight and kind of rock the boat a little bit, it will shake out a little bit more hair, probably an increase of anywhere between 5 to 15% of an increase, depending on how much weight you lose and how much you rock that boat. So, what can we do, or why does this cause hair loss in the body? So, anytime, like I was saying, the body experiences a large shift in weight loss and or gain, the metabolic balance can be thrown off enough to interrupt that cycle. Cycle's actually pretty sensitive. It can take, a trauma or a birth or a death or, a job change or a move, but certainly gaining or losing a significant weight will also interrupt the hair loss cycle or the hair growth cycle. And when a drastic the weight loss occurs due to loss of appetite, your calories go down. And so does the nutrient supply to the hair. And like that is such a loaded thing because honestly, our nutrients aren't what they used to be. Our fruit and vegetables do not have in them what our great grandparents fruits and vegetables used to have in them. Our soil is gunky. It's full of pesticides and chemicals, and there's so many things in the air, and we spray everything. So we really, really, really need to consider supplementation. So because not only does your body need a lot of nutrients, but like I said, that hair of yours is the second fastest dividing cell in the entire body, and it requires a steady stream of nutrition. And any significant change can trigger a hair shedding. Now, usually this shedding lasts, depending on what's going on in your world, it can last anywhere between 2 and 6 weeks. That's normal. That's acute. Some people, anything above and beyond 6 months, we call that chronic telogen effluvium. And so in that regard, we would do a little bit of a deep dive. But typically when it's just a weight loss thing, your hair will bounce back. Give it about 6 months and you're going to start to see lots of new growth. The other thing that I can get a little hung up on too is reducing certain food groups, such as carbohydrates. What essentially the root of a carbohydrate is glucose. When you really, really break it all down, the body breaks it down, it comes down to glucose. And there is a particular cycle that happens in the body called the Krebs cycle. And blah, 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 that's all geeky. But what happens in that is that cycle, it fires every single cell in your body. And so you'll get super tired when you cut out carbs and things like that because there's not a lot of energy for the body to go on. And so it's not that you need like big, thick, heavy breads and things like that, but carbohydrates fuel cells in the body, especially hair cells. And it's imperative that we never starve those hair cells because it's going to come out without too much effort, unfortunately. So, next slide. How can we prevent hair loss when we're on it? Because we want to lose the weight. We want to make sure our heart stays healthy. We want to make sure that our weight stays balanced. We want to have all of the good things. So how do we work with this? So it's natural and normal to shed a little bit while tweaking up that sexy body of yours. So supplement, okay? Supplementation. And now when it comes to supplementation, typically what I say is that if you can buy toilet paper in the same spot that you're buying your supplements, maybe not the best quality. And if you're losing your hair, we don't really want to mess around with quality because we are on a time limit, but that's a story for another time. So we have to make sure that we get something into our body right now. And what I do recommend, most of you get what's called a methylated option. For example, methylcobalamin. So that is actually B12. And B12 can come in a few different forms. So it'll come in cyanocobalamin or it'll be methylcobalamin. Now, when it's methyl, It's methylated, which means it's broken down into a simple form that your body easily recognizes and it can process. When it is a thiocobalamin, it means that that cobalamin bond molecule is attached to a cyanide bond, and the body doesn't know what to do with, or it needs to have to break that down and put it into a recognizable form in the body. And so technically 44% of the human population doesn't have that option. So you're taking a 1 in 2 chance every time you buy over-the-counter stuff that is not in a methylated form. So you can get tested for that. You can get tested. It's the MTHFR gene and see if there's an issue with that gene. And if so, or you can just skip it and save yourself the money and just assume that you have that and just make life easier for your body anyways. Quite honestly, most of us are so stressed out. You should just do what it takes to make life easier on your body. Another thing that we can do is take TED treatments, non-surgical hair restoration. TED is actually an acronym for trans epidermal drug delivery. Now, I don't use drugs because I'm not a doctor. I use exosomes and I use peptides. So different types of growth serums that are found naturally occurring in the body and or biomimetically made in a lab where they are identical to the human peptide and growth factor, and but very, very safe with no worries of any kind of a reaction. And some people kind of get creeped out using human parts. So this is a way to avoid all the creepy stuff. But TED basically, those treatments use ultrasound and air pressure to drive in the serum. And so that's again, story for another time. But basically, we're putting Miracle-Gro on steroids on hair. And so when we're waiting for the body to balance out on the Ozempic, those TED treatments are there to help minimize the amount of shedding that can actually occur. And it can provide what are called endothelial growth factors and endothelial vascular growth factors. And so what that actually does is provide a brand new, whole new little city of blood vessels in your scalp that will help bring oxygen nutrition to the area and eventually attach itself to brand new hair. Eat a well-balanced diet with fruits and vegetables. Yeah, no kidding, Jen, I know. So yeah, do it, and get organic when you can. Eat the rainbow. Paleo is a great lifestyle. It's like eating the Mediterranean diet. That's the same, one and the same. Lean fruits and vegetables, lots of beans, nuts, legumes, and fruits and vegetables of all colors, lots of rich, rich colors. And be prepared that there may be some shedding. I mean, it's life. It's going to happen. It's going to be okay, but not to worry. It often returns as good as new. If you do as I say here up on the list, you get lots of good vitamins, you're taking care of yourself, like I said, it should take up to about 6 months, 4 to 6 months, and you'll start seeing brand new hairs. There's ways to accelerate it too. If you're curious, just let us know and we can certainly help you. So I hope this answers some of your questions. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to get out of here and click exit. There we go. So hopefully that answers some of your questions when it comes to Ozempic. I mean, bottom line is you want to stay alive, right? And at the end of the day, you can always buy somebody else's hair, but making sure that your weight is intact. It's going to affect your heart if you're not, and you got a beautiful family that you want to stick around and live for. So if you're going to do it, it's just good to make sure that you're otherwise supported in other areas. And there's lots of things that you can do in the interim to make sure that you get the help that you need. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to drop them in my DMs and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Hairline, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.